All right, thanks for joining us, Basement Dwellers. Basement Boy Reviews, our third installment coming up right now. We've done Furious 7, Age of Ultron, Up Tonight, Mad Max Fury Road. We both got a chance to see it yesterday. Initial thoughts?
Initial thoughts would be, I think it's good. It definitely fits the 80s movie sort of, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. Like if you go into it knowing, oh yeah, this is an 80s movie, you're not disappointed in that sense. I could see where maybe like if you don't like the weird 80s action movies, you're kind of like, this is weird. Why is it so? What are with some of these choices? But I think it's good overall. But I also like Terminator, Arnold Schwarzenegger movies.
When did you see? Have you seen the first two? Have you seen Mad Max and Road Warrior?
It's been a long time since I've seen the first one, but then I watched the second one literally before I like halfway through it before I went and saw Mad Max.
Okay, see, I saw the first one like 6 months ago, but I haven't seen Road Warrior in probably.
Have you seen the third one?
Not in like a decade. You know, so
something
it's
about
been
the Thunderdome.
Battle something Thunderdome. So I don't know. My initial thoughts. I really liked the movie. I had pretty high expectations going in. I thought this was gonna be. I don't know. I guess I didn't really know what I thought going in, but I had pretty high expectations. And unlike Avengers, they weren't all met. It's a great movie. Definitely worth seeing in the theater too. I think it's definitely a theater experience. The cinematography is gorgeous. It's an amazing action film. It is. So I had some problems in some of the plot, some of the story, but it's not a story movie. it's an action movie. It's a summer popcorn movie, and to that extent, it lives up to what it's supposed to be.
For sure.
What was your favorite part of the movie?
I guess it's a twofold sort of favorite. I liked that they use mostly practical effects, just because practical effects to me are way cooler, especially for certain types of movies.
Well, with cars too.
Well, anything that's supposed to look dirty, so horror movies, practical effects are pretty important in them. Something like this where everything's covered in sand, computer generated, looks so obvious very often because
it's like things too clean dirty.
So it kind of needs to have sort of like a gritty dirt feel, and it just feels way more fake when I'm seeing it. But with practical effects, the things are actually dirty, so you can they feel way more real.
Right.
And I guess my other favorite part is the plot wasn't great, but the way they sort of present the world is cool.
It's real quick how they set it up. I mean, it's literally that opening montage, and boom, here's what's happened, here's where we at, and off and running from there. Pretty much.
And it's very showy without telling you. There's the mother's milk where they have those big girls and they're hooked up to the milkers or whatever.
Right, yep.
And that's like the first 10 minutes of the movie, so it's not a spoiler or anything, but it shows you kind of like they don't say we use the mother's milk to make sure we're really strong. It's like they just know what they're doing.
They expect you to
connect the dots, just
connect
through
the
vision.
dots and just accept their level of disbelief. You know what I mean? Which if you set your parameters for what I'm supposed to believe and not believe, then as long as you stick within those parameters, I'm all for it. You know?
And it's so much better to show us than to monologue. We're in a dystopian future where people drink mother's milk to get strength because there's no animals alive or whatever. You know what I mean?
Right. Or they dumb it down and feel like they have to explain it.
Right.
Rather they just show you it and you
your brain
infer.
wouldn't connect the dots.
Right.
Oh, there's no animals. Milk's a good source of protein. There's very few other options for protein. This would be a useful sort of, if you wanted soldiers or people to be well nourished, you'd need something like that. And humans produce that. You just have to make sure they're well fed otherwise, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's like one of those things where it's not hard to connect the dots there.
No.
But a lot of film companies feel like most people are too dumb to connect dots.
Right, so they explain it for you and so on. And I mean, what I like most about the movie, obviously gorgeous, crazy action sequences. I mean, they're spectacular. They are. But one of my favorite parts is the dude playing the guitar.
Yeah.
That's a flamethrower.
Like every 5 minutes he shows up again.
That guy is amazing. He literally made the movie for him. When I saw him in the trailer, I was like sold, and he did not disappoint. Doesn't speak a word. Maybe in it for all of 5 minutes, 10 at most.
He shows up like
but
every
he's amazing.
10 minutes.
He's there for a second, then he's gone, and that guy was great. That guy he was worth the price of admission.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. But the action sequences, I mean, I guess they were very impressive, but there was kind of one of my issues with the movie is in the middle it starts to drag a little bit, and you're right, the story's not strong. It's a very basic story. We're not going to go into spoilers and like spoil anything in the movie, but the plot, there's some holes in it, and there are some definite places where you're like, it's too easy, like the conclusions they're coming to, or the way they're getting out of certain things, or like that kind of at the end where they meet up and then they decide to readjust the plan.
Yeah.
And it just worked out perfect. I don't know.
It took a fourth the time that their actual whole journey took. There was like no problems pretty much.
Another one of my problems is, all right, there's 3 factions chasing them through the desert the entire movie. Gas is at a premium. How could you afford to have that many people continuing the chase? And I know there's that one scene where there's that guy talking about how many gallons they burned up, vehicles lost, blah, blah, blah. You remember that part? But honestly, at a certain point, wouldn't, especially the other 2, like, warlord type dudes, turn around and just be like, this is your problem, man? Like, for...
Well, you also have to think about how important he is. A, he's protection because he's got probably the largest army. Right. B, he provides the milk, which is probably almost more important than... because you can't drive a car if you're dead.
And he controls the water.
You can't shoot... Well, and he controls a big source of water, but you also can't shoot a gun if you're dead. Their workers can't work without what he provides. So his resource is probably the most important.
One of the justifications I had too for that was that the things they're chasing after to retrieve are worth more than what they're paying in the gas and vehicles to retrieve the items. Sort
of. Because it's worth it to the warlord, but if you think about all those other guys, it really doesn't matter because if what they're chasing, let's say it doesn't work, what does it matter?
But let's just say maybe those are the only, well, again, I don't want to get into spoilers, but all right, yeah.
We're on different levels.
What was your kind of least favorite part of the movie?
I'm going to have to go with pretty much the same sort of, the conclusion felt not necessarily rushed, but like it was too easy. Like they spent a long time getting to where they needed to go. So imagine an hour and a half or whatever. How long is the movie? 2 hours?
2 hours, a little over 2 hours.
So let's say an hour and a half of the movie is getting to point A.
Right.
Then getting to the conclusion, which let's say is point B, took 30 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that watching it too, how quickly it reversed.
There was 0 problems, which, they're not really chasing them or whatever as seriously because they're all beaten up from the journey. But at the same time, I don't know. It just seemed too easy.
And that was some of the plot points where I think, but you can't go into it like, you're not going into this movie for story, character development. You're going into this movie for a popcorn shoving blockbuster summer fun movie. Like that's what you're going in for. Action, good time. The story's good. I mean, it's not a bad story. Right. It's just the story's the story. With Mad Max, it's not like this story is going to carry on if they do another one. You know, a lot of the Mad Max stories are just a glimpse into one tale along his
They're
journey.
Like episodes of a TV show,
yeah,
essentially.
Pretty much. Yep. Like 2-hour episodes of a TV show.
So this isn't a prequel or a
Yep. It's just a snapshot into what happened this one time he was out getting into trouble, you know? Because at the end, you know, it's just... It sets up for another one. It definitely sets up for another one. Tom Hardy's on for 2 or 3 more. So what would you give the movie out of... let's go out of 5 cars. What would you give it?
How about, I don't know, 4 if we're just rating the action? Like, I'd see it again if someone was like, hey.
Oh, I'd recommend it for sure. Do not see it in 3D. Again, just like Avengers. Post converted.
I didn't see it in 3D.
I did, and I was at a bad angle, and it really, like, my eyes hurt by the end. I had the headache again. Just see it in 2D. It's a much better experience.
I feel like practical effects look better in 2D anyway.
Too, right. They're not, but I'm also going to give it I'm also gonna give it four cars, 4 flipped over cars, because it was good. It wasn't great. Avengers is better. Avengers is better, and that I gave Avengers 4 hammers. I think that might have to go to 4.5 hammers because Avengers was a better movie.
Yeah.
Avengers was a better movie than Mad Max, but by no means does that mean Mad Max is a bad movie. So go check it out. It's going to be running in your theaters for a while now. I mean, we got more movies coming out in a couple weeks. Tomorrowland, we'll be doing a review for that. Ant-Man after that. Oh, San Andreas.
What was that the one that you said?
Yeah,
you forgot
San Andreas.
to mention?
San Andreas, we're definitely going to do. Jurassic World, we're definitely going to do. Ant-Man. So we got 4 more coming up in the next month or so. So keep tuned for that, Basement Dwellers. We'll see you next time, Basement Boy Reviews. If you like what you just saw, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, like our videos, follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and like our Facebook page.